Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we're back for another track guide, this time at Silverstone in the Formula 4 car on iRacing. This might actually be my favourite track for this car. I remember driving it last season when it came round and the racing was absolutely amazing here. For this lap I'm using the usual setup that's normally used in the fixed Formula 4 series, apart from that I've got 57.7% brake bias instead of 58. Before we get into the lap, I'd like to ask you all to subscribe to my channel. We're nearly at 250 subscribers and it would mean so much to me if we could get there. But without further ado, let's get straight on with the guide. Turn 1 in this car is flat. You want to start turning it at the service road on the left hand side and shifting up to 6th while you do so. Be careful of how much curb you take on the inside and outside, as you can get off track very easily. For me, this next sequence of corners was the most difficult on the track. It's very difficult to keep the rear stable on low speed corners. For this first one you want to be braking down to 3rd gear at the start of the curve on the left hand side, but trying not to run too deep into the corner as we have to keep it over to the right to set off this next turn. There isn't really much of a reference point here. I just like to do it so that when the apex of the turn has gone out of my screen I start braking down to 2nd gear, then gets close to the curb on the inside. As you can see I have a little moment on the exit, so try to get on throttle slightly slower than I do to keep the rear stable. Here you want to be using around 60% brake just before the 50 board. You're going to be shifting slowly down to 3rd gear as to keep the rear stable, and then trail brake all the way to the exit, slowly coming back on throttle and taking all of the curb on the inside to set up for this next right hander. You're going to have a quick shift up to 4th and then start braking again for this right hander. It's a very long corner and you want to take a double apex, going down to the 3rd gear, trail braking slightly and then getting back on throttle to rotate the car. Cops in this car, all you need is a slight bit of trail braking at the start. You want to be doing it just before the 50 board, then carrying as much speed as possible in 5th gear, getting back on throttle before the apex, and using all of the curb on the right and left. As you can see, this little left kink is flat, and then the right hander, you can just lift and shift down to 5th gear, using all of the curb on the right, and then the left hander, to keep the rear stable you can use a bit of throttle down to 4th gear, and then the right hander again. You can trail brake slightly here, or you can just use the throttle to rotate the car, and then go back to full throttle before you hit the apex, using all of the exit curb on the left, trying not to scrub much speed on the exit. Here you can brake at the start of the curve on the left down to 4th gear. You can trail brake slightly if you want to be back onto full throttle before you hit the apex. Around this point here you can start to open up the steering again. You can use all of the curb on the left, past the white line if you really need to. Again, this corner can be difficult to keep the rear stable. You want to brake at the start of the curve on the right down to 3rd gear, trail brake to the apex and get back to full throttle, lift slightly for the right hander and then as flat out to the line. So that was one lap, and I'll leave you the full uninterrupted hot lap. Thank you all so much for watching the video. Please do like it if you enjoyed, and I hope to see you all out on track this week.